channel 807, Azam on channel 386, and live streams on our YouTube and Facebook platforms. You can find us in Area 2 Lilongwe or can reach us on 0883-815-055. Come, let us help you grow your business.
Glad to join our 7:30 news bulletin right here on LUNTHA Television, and you're with me, Charity Chilanga. First, a look at the top stories. Pope Francis renews call for peace, urges prayers and penance. Experts tip President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera on his SONA focus. Political experts weigh in on Mary Chilema's decision on politics. And in international news, DRC children fear returning to school in M23-controlled Goma. We do have the details to these and many more. Stay tuned. Pope Francis has reiterated his constant appeal for peace, urging people to pray and do penance for peace. He made the impassioned remarks during his weekly General Audience on Wednesday, serving as a poignant reminder of the devastating impact of war and the need for collective efforts to create a more peaceful world. We have a Vatican News report read by Fales Chizombe.
The Pope's appeal came towards the end of his address as he set aside his prepared remarks to speak from the heart. He expressed his concern for countries ravaged by war, emphasizing the need for collective action to promote peace. Pope Francis stressed that humanity is not destined for violence, but rather to support and uplift one another. He encouraged those present to incorporate prayers for peace into their daily devotions. The Holy Father specifically mentioned Ukraine, which has been embroiled in conflict for months, and expressed his deep concern for the suffering of its people. He also highlighted other regions plagued by violence, including Palestine, Israel, Myanmar, North Kivu, and South Sudan.
Malawians have been experiencing harsh realities of unimplemented State of the Nation addresses by President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera almost every year of his reign. This is an interpretation of political and governance expert George Chaima, as a member of Political Scientists Association of Malawi, who has observed that Chakwera's songs are uniform and so too with their lack of implementation. Another governance expert, Wanda Funkuchi, updates for clear actions on fuel crisis and the economy. Robert Edward reports.
President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera is Friday, February the 14th, slated to deliver his fourth State of the Nation address amid economic woes and fuel supply instability exacerbated by forex shortage. But for political and governance experts in the country, George Chaima and Wanda Funkuche, the president must clearly stipulate actionable ways to address problems that have direct impact of the essentials of Malawians. For Chaima, however, State of the Nation addresses by the president, though crucial and commendable of Chakwera, but have been void of implementation, and almost all of them sounds similar on the failed AIP, grinched social cash transfer, and hypocrisy of the corruption fight. He has since advised Chakwera to strive to outline only things that he will be able to deliver than giving a ton of unimplemented strategies.
And what we have observed mostly is that the SONA that is being presented to Malawians has contained almost the same contents or context from time to time again. And these issues revolve around the life of Malawian and development of our nation. He has spoken to us before how he has prepared to tackle corruption. He has talked to us how he has decided to improve the IIP program.
On his part, renowned governance expert Wanda Funkuche is expecting Chakwera to address Malawians on strategies to end unstable fuel supply, forex shortage, and economic woes marring his administration. This will be Chakwera's fourth and last SONA in his first tenure. For LUNTHA, this is Robert Edward.
Saulos Klaus Chilima Foundation chairperson Mary Chilima stated that throughout the time she knew her late husband, he was a man devoted to serving and helping others. She made the sentiments in Lilongwe on Wednesday during the official launch of the Saulos Klaus Chilima Foundation. Madam Chilima emphasized that this passion for uplifting people is what the foundation seeks to carry forward through various projects and initiatives. Jacqueline Saidi with the reports.
Officially launched with a commitment to service, the SKC Foundation aims to address key areas such as education, healthcare, economic empowerment, and social welfare. By focusing on these sectors, the foundation seeks to ensure that even those in local communities have access to opportunities that will help them build better lives. In her speech, Mary Chilima, who is the chairperson of the foundation, expressed gratitude for the overwhelming support received, describing it as a testament to the deep love and respect Malawians continue to hold for the late Vice President. She highlighted that the foundation will serve as a beacon of excellence dedicated to preserving and advancing the legacy of SKC, a man deeply committed to his faith and driven by his unwavering passion to serve his country.
Innovative solutions to everyday Malawian and African problems. Distinguished guests, listening to Bwana Chikuse, I can assure you that this foundation will be managed prudently, transparently, and with integrity. We appreciate that every single tambala that we've been given is intended for the less fortunate and needs to be accounted for. To achieve this, our Board of Trustees will evolve to now include experts that share the mindset of Dr. Saulos Klaus Chilima. Our upcoming management team will be responsible for the day-to-day operations of the Saulos Klaus Chilima Foundation, therefore making sure they separate the board from the foundation. We will adhere to the rule of law and will provide audited accounts and readily available annual reports. I therefore appeal to all potential partners with whom our mission aligns to kindly incorporate us in your upcoming plans. These are just a few of our intended activities, and it is our belief that this foundation will live on for generations to come.
On his part, SKC Foundation Organizing Committee Chairperson Boyd Luwe emphasized that the foundation is meant to celebrate the life and impact of the late Vice President.
We also seek to build lasting relationships with institutions present in the building tonight, because the work the foundation has set out to do will require both your financial and material support. With greater support for this foundation, we have the power not to just change lives, but to reshape futures of the next generation of our citizens. Together, we are creating a lasting legacy. We are showing that homegrown solutions to our challenges are not just possible, they are actually essential. So in conclusion, this evening marks the beginning of our noble mission. The Saulos Klaus Chilima Foundation is an initiative that seeks to bring light into the darkest corners of our society. It is a call to action.
Plans to establish a rapid response fund to assist families affected by natural disasters and other crises while supporting disaster preparedness efforts. The launch event was attended by President Lazarus Chakwera, Vice President Michael Usi, Archbishop Desmond Tambara, Auxiliary Bishop Vincent Mokwawa, as well as government ministers and members of parliament. For LUNTHA Television News, this is Jacqueline Saidi.
Political experts have weighed in on Lady Saulos Chilema's wife's decision to stay away from politics despite various calls for her to continue her late husband's political journey. Chilema categorically denied rumors that she would join active politics yesterday during the official launch of SK's legacy at Bingu International Convention Center, BICC in Lilongwe. She said instead she would cling to continuing Chilema's legacy through other endeavors as enclosed in the foundation's cause. Hobart Katamba has more details.
Political experts are of the view that Chilema's decision provides a clear departure to family politics, as has been the case in Malawi. In an interview, political expert Chimwemwe Tsitsi said Madam Mary Chilema had options, but her choice has portrayed a different narrative in as far as politics is concerned. He said the move has shown a different idea on the most accused family politics, where political parties' front seats are run as an empire.
So, join politics. So if she announced that she's not interested in joining politics, it is very normal. We've had people who've been spouses of politicians, but they never joined the politics. So I think in this case, I'm not surprised because much as this is coming from herself, but her family at one point said that people should stop pressing her to join politics because she's not interested in joining politics. I think it was said by one of the brothers of the late Dr. Saulos Chilema.
In her speech yesterday night, late Saulos Chilema's widow, Mary, emphasized that she has no intentions of filling her late husband's spots in politics.
Many have tried to answer that question on behalf of Saulos, telling me I must continue his political journey. I don't think that is my forte. The political arm of Dr. Chilema's legacy will continue with the party that he founded, UTM. The party has my full blessing to realize his political manifesto in the best way that they can. I have known Dr. Saulos for 29 years, and he was only a politician for 10 of those years. However, throughout those 29 years, there's one consistent aspect of his character that I observed, and that was his desire to serve. Kuthandiza anthu ovutika, kudzipereka kumpingo, komanso kukonda dziko lake kwambiri. Throughout his career, he had opportunities to relocate from Malawi, but he remained steadfast, loving his country through thick and thin.
Among others, the country's former second lady said the bereaved family still has questions on the circumstances that led to the death of Chilema. Her remarks come days after various faith leaders had ridiculed the findings of an investigation of a commission of inquiry into the plane crash which claimed Chilema's life and 8 others. He died on the 10th of June 2024 after a military craft he boarded crashed within the thick forest of Chikangawa.
You're watching news on LUNTHA Television. We'll be back after this short break. If you've just joined us, I know that you're watching news on LUNTHA Television. Now a reminder of the top stories. Pope Francis renews call for peace, urges prayers and penance. Experts tip President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera on his SONA focus. Political experts weigh in on Mary Chilema's decision on politics. And in international news, the DRC children fear returning to school in M23 controlled Goma. Moving on with the news, the United Nations Development Programme UNDP resident representative from Malawi has implored business leaders in the country to work with all political parties in identifying key measures that can be implemented to improve the country's economy through manufacturing. Fanella Frost says being an electoral year, there is a need for all key players, including the private sector, to come up with realistic and concrete measures Malawi can implement to grow her economy through the manufacturing sector. She was speaking today in Blantyre at the opening of the 2025 Manufacturing Conference, called to discuss issues about the manufacturing sector in Malawi. Here's part of what Frost had said.
I think the reality is we know that this is a challenging moment for Malawi. Obviously, the global and regional headwinds means that opportunities for Malawi's manufacturing sector are more limited than maybe they were in the past. And so I think in this environment, we really need to think in practical ways. What are the practical things that can be done today that could really make a difference? I think the Honourable Minister in his speech spoke to being frank, and I think that really is the key. There's been a lot of discussions on what are the issues, but I think now is the question for what are the solutions.
Minister of Trade and Industry Sostan Gwengwe, who delivered a keynote address, said our government is doing its part in addressing the challenges manufacturers are facing. Industry players also need to be resilient. Gwengwe had this to say.
Yeah, so basically we were just trying to encourage the private sector that government will be with them in difficult times like the ones we have. But overall, we should be resilient, because if private sector is timid, then it affects the common man on the street. And when the private sector is thriving, then things stabilize, then the biggest beneficiary is the common man on the street. So we called on this meeting to have a frank discussion with our private sector, because remember, ours is an economy that is private sector led. So if private sector is dwindling, obviously the whole economy dwindles, and the common man on the street is hampered by hyperinflation.
The global world is today, the 13th of February, commemorating Radio Day, an information medium that is remained reputable for communication, a companion and a medium for voicing out for communities. The day is being commemorated under the Radio and Climate because radios have and are still playing a critical role in covering climate challenges. Journalists working with different community radio stations feel proud that they are able to use their radio in disseminating information on climate change and using the radio as a tool for entertainment. Rashida Matandika had a chat with a few journalists and now reports on their experiences.
For sure, social media has had an impact on traditional media like the radio, because nowadays people prefer the social media, unlike radio because social media is a new and now media. However, people still refer back to the radio for confirmation. So despite that, the radio still remains the best media platform of information.
Meanwhile, the director of the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, Makla Daud Suleiman, says the country is doing well in radio establishments, with 98% coverage in national, regional, and community radios that are fully licensed. He commended the sustainability that is there for radios despite the heavy competitions being experienced through other communications platforms. Suleiman explains.
Our take is that it does not change. Spectrum is an international commodity. A radio station uses spectrum, and spectrum is an international commodity. And commodities that are traded on the international market are pegged to an international currency. In this case, our Malawi spectrum is pegged to US dollar, and it will remain being pegged to the US dollar. It is how that market behaves, and it is how the market operates. It's in the same vein that petrol in Malawi, even though we pay with Malawi kwacha on the pump, but petrol in Malawi is traded on $1. So spectrum is a natural resource. Petrol is a natural resource. So we're trading with likes for likes. Thank you.
Mwina mchichewa tsiku lero lofunikira bwanji ngati timu.
Tsiku lero ndofunikira kwambiri chifukwa ma wireless amphepo amagwira ntchito yayikulu kwambiri yotamandika pakati pathu, potiphunzitsa, potidziwitsa, komanso potisangalatsa. Chitukuko cha dziko ndi chitukuko cha chuma chimafunika kuti anthu ake akhale kuti ndi anthu omvetsetsa, anthu ake akhale kuti akumvetsetsa zinthu ndi kumazitsata zinthu kuti zikuyenda bwanji. Ndiye wireless ya mphepo ku Malawi kuno yakhale kuti ithandizira pogwira ntchito imeneyi potukula dziko lino, komanso pothandiza kuti anthu aku Malawi kuno akhale anthu omvetsetsa, anthu odziwa zinthu mmene zikuyendera. Ndiye tsiku la lero pa 13 February pa dziko lonse lapansi ndi tsiku limene timakumbukira kuti kodi wireless imeneyi ikutithandizira motani, ndipo wireless imeneyi ndi chida chotani chimene choti tili nacho pakati pathu. Ndiye ifenso kuno ku Malawi tsiku limene la 13 February limenenso nafe timabwera pamodzi ife ngatoyang'anira za ma wireless amphepo Malawi muno bungwe la makra, komanso anzathu ena amene tidapatsa ziphaso zoti atha kuulutsa mawu pa mphepo ku Malawi kuno, timabwera pamodzi kuti tiunikire.
The Ministry of Mining in the country has temporarily banned the export of gemstones and precious minerals in a bid to sanitize the mining sector. According to a statement signed by Secretary in the Ministry of Mining, Dr. G.C.N.M. Kandawili, the ban is a part of the government's effort to reform the Mineral Rights Administration and bring efficiency and transparency to this sector. Emmanuel Jocha reports.
The government launched the Agriculture, Tourism and Mining ATM strategy last year, aiming to boost economic growth in the country. In an interview, Minister of Mining Dr. Kenneth Zikalengoma emphasized the importance of managing minerals effectively for the betterment of the country. Dr. Ngoma assured that the ministry will work tirelessly to ensure that the mining sector is managed efficiently and transparently. He emphasized that the government is committed to creating an environment that fosters economic growth and benefits all stakeholders.
We have suspended the issuance of licenses to anybody, so that within the 21 days we have been given, we should come up with a proper procedure or protocol on how to manage our resources and to put it back. So that will be done, and we involve experts so that we correct the situation and make sure that whenever somebody is testing a stone, a gemologist or geologist should make sure that there is somebody to audit whether the pricing has been done properly or not, because it appears it's a chain and they're conniving, and we want to make sure that we stop that. And
the temporary ban on export licenses and permits is expected to pave way for reforms in the mining sector. The Ministry of Mining has since urged all stakeholders to cooperate with the government efforts to reform the mining sector. The temporary ban on the export license and permits is expected to be lifted once the reforms are in place. For LUNTHA News, this is Emmanuel Jocha.
And in other news, parents and children in Goma, Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, are fearful about returning to school. This comes after M23 rebels who control the North Kivu capital ordered classes to resume despite ongoing damage from fighting between the rebels and the National Army. Reuters reporter Sean Hogan has more.
It's the start of the day at Mama Moule's school in Goma, but only 23 students of the usual 1,200 trickle in for class. The clashes between M23 rebels and Congolese forces have left families displaced. And despite a call from the rebels for schools to resume normal operations, parents are fearful of sending their children back. Explosions have left gaping holes in the roof, and school buses are littered with bullet holes. School director Rose Victorine Sudila Mwembo says the damage done is both physical and mental.
Our school was badly hit. I don't know if you've seen the other side. Even the buses that transported students were damaged. When you arrive here, you wonder, will life ever return to normal? Will the children be able to focus on their lessons after everything they have witnessed? The bomb fragments, the destruction, seeing where the bullets landed. Will the students truly settle back into their routines? We ask ourselves these questions because it's not easy. Even we, the staff, feel scared. How will we continue with the children? Only God knows.
The disruption comes after intense fighting in Goma, the region's largest city, which fell into the hands of M23 rebels at the end of January. Congo alleges the rebels are backed by Rwanda, a claim Rwanda denies. Some schools, including Mama Mules, have been used as refuge centres for displaced families, further complicating efforts to restore normalcy. Before the fighting, students were approaching the end of exams. Mwembo says parents now call to say they've moved their traumatised children to safer places, and some aren't even in the city anymore.
That VOA report also brings us to the end of our today's edition of news, but let's have a recap of the top stories before we go. Pope Francis renews call for peace, urges prayers and penance. Experts tip President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera on his SONA focus. Political experts weigh in on Mary Chilema's decision on politics. And in international news, the DRC children fear returning to school in M23-controlled Goma. I'm Charity Jalanga. Thanks so much for giving me company and continue enjoying the rest of our programs right here on LUNTHA TV. Goodbye.